Thank you for joining us yet again on our news desk on QTV. The headlines. First Lady Esther Lungu has adopted the 1-month-old abandoned baby currently at the University Teaching Hospital. The University Teaching Hospital has announced that it is scheduled to conduct the second operation for the 3-year-old Shipata boy with needles and wires in various parts of his body in the first week of January. Education Minister David Mabumba has announced that the ministry has finalized the listing of the names of the Teaching Council of Zambia and Examinations Council of Zambia commissioners. Here now is the news in detail. First Lady Esther Lungu has adopted the 1-month-old abandoned baby currently at the University Teaching Hospital. The First Lady made this announcement when she visited the abandoned baby, who is among other Christmas babies at the UTH Mothers and the Newborn Hospital. Mrs. Lungu says she has offered to take the baby, who for now has been named Esther, as soon as the adoption process is completed. She has assured that the first family will take care of the baby and ensure that she grows up well and in good health. Earlier on, Mrs. Lungu advised women to make use of family planning pills and seek family planning services if they are not ready to have children, so that they are not found engaging in evil acts of dumping or abandoning their babies. Meanwhile, a total of 18 Christmas babies have been recorded at the two biggest health institutions in Lusaka. Nakaunga Nakaunga brings us this report.
The future of this 1-month-old baby seemed marred with uncertainty after she was abandoned by her mother and left in the care of nurses at the University Teaching Hospital and officers from the social welfare. The mother of this baby, only identified as Sarah Tembo by the hospital, abandoned the child days after the delivery, as explained by Lillian Mwap, a nurse at the hospital.
So this baby was born on 25th of November. The baby was weighing 1.75, was a premature baby. So after birth, the baby was taken to BO3, where they were with the mother, and then later on taken to BO3, to D11 for further management. Apparently, the mother was around when the baby was born and just got an excuse to say, I'm going to get the clothing for the baby, and that's how she disappeared. The information that we have is that this baby, the mother was referred from Kalingalinga, and the numbers she left as the next of kin are unreachable. So we are trying to engage the social welfare to help us locate the mother. Otherwise, this baby has been in the hospital for 30 days.
The life and future of this girl has changed as she has been adopted into the first family. This happened when First Lady Esther Lungu, during her visit to the hospital to check on Christmas babies, got touched by the news of the baby being abandoned and announced her decision to adopt the baby. The First Lady has also advised women to make use of family planning services if they are not ready to have children.
I think the spirit tells me I adopted that baby. Let me know of the requirements of the baby. I will leave my contact address. I know you know the contact address, so that we can get in touch. I'm interested in seeing that baby grow. Because we have systems that can stop mothers from having children if they don't want children. We have the contraceptives. So if one doesn't really want to become pregnant, she can avoid that. This is my baby. Yeah. I want you to grow in the name of Jesus and shame the devil that came into the mother's mind to dump you. Otherwise, you are in safe hands. The Lord is in charge and in control. You are going to grow. We are grateful for you. Take care of my baby. Okay, this is the baby I have adopted, and I'm interested in seeing this baby grow.
The First Lady today also visited the 18 Christmas babies recorded at UTH and the Levi Manawasa Teaching Hospital, where she presented hampers.
olwoyo mumwezi ofuna kukanda abaana koma kuzindikira kuti ndise bantu bamulungu mulungu ndiye amatirenga ise ndise viwalo chabe atisebenzesa we are just vessels. This is a girl again.
Yes, baby girl. The management at the two institutions and the Minister of Health have hailed the First Lady and the Republican President for their support.
And we would also like to thank you for having thought of this hospital to come and grace us and see how we are looking after the patients, the Zambian patients. Thank you for coming, and to request that if we could sign the visitors book.
We are always honored to have you here at our hospital. We know your passion that you have for women and our newborn babies. Up to this morning, we have delivered 11 babies, and among the babies, there are two sets of twins. Now. They've gone to 12.
We are again honored and humbled to host you in this hospital. We have a few cases that we request. Please pass our gratitude to His Excellency President Kachagurungu for the tremendous support we received in 2018. From the Ministry of Health, we say Merry Christmas to the First Family and gratitude for the support you've given us. Ma'am, you're welcome.
Mrs. Lungu concluded her visit at the UTH Mother's Shelter where she interacted with the women there.
So keep being faithful.
The University Teaching Hospital has announced that it is scheduled to conduct the second operation for the 3-year-old Chipata boy with needles and wires in various parts of his body in the first week of January. This came to light when First Lady Esther Lungu visited young Richard Zulu and presented him with a Christmas hamper, among other Christmas babies, at the University Teaching Hospital, where he is admitted. Head Clinical Care at UTH Children's Hospital, Dr. Musaku Mwenechanya, says the boy is currently doing well and has gained weight from the time he was evacuated to UTH from Chipata General Hospital. He has explained that the UTH has in the past weeks been evaluating where the over 20 needles in the boy's body are to see if the operation can be conducted without opening any parts of the boy's body. Dr. Mwenechanya is confident that by next week, the boy will be strong and ready for the second operation.
As a ministry, we are very happy with the kind of care that was done in Chipata when our child, 3-year-old Richard, succumbed to the foreign bodies that were in his body. We've had to do emergency surgery to remove the parts that collected in the abdomen because of the needles and the wires. The ministry, through our minister again, and His Excellency Mr. Edgar Chagwarum, requested that the minister forms a team that will go and assess Richard within Chipata, and we did just that. And the technical team that was taken, we have decided that we evacuate Richard to bring him over here. He's thriving very, very well. Okay. He's put on a lot of weight. We would like him to get slightly more stronger. Over the past 3 weeks, we've been working on evaluating where exactly the needles are sitting using the machines that are in these UTH hospitals. And I think in the first week of January, next week, we should be getting in to see if we can remove as many needles as possible. He sits now sitting with more than 20 needles still in his body. Ours is to try using the machines to be less invasive in the removal of the needles. We want to see if using the machines we can start to plug them, those that are on the surface without opening, start to plug them out, start to plug them out. Those that are internal are the ones that we have to go for. Richard is with us here, and it's for us. We are very happy that you can find time to visit him. Thank you, Mom.
And First Lady Esther Lungu has commended UTH staff members for their tireless efforts in ensuring that the boy recovers and the rest of the foreign bodies are removed. Mrs. Lungu, however, encouraged the mother of the boy to continue praying for the boy's quick recovery, saying God is the only one who knows how the needles entered the boy's body and how they can be removed.
A strange case ever. I couldn't believe it, and I'm still finding it hard to believe that it happened, and the baby survived and is still living. And we are happy that you people are working tirelessly to save this child's life. Because when you hear there are needles in somebody's body, because even one needle you feel it can take one's life. What more than 30 needles? Surely we praise God for what you are doing. And we thank God that He has provided the machinery or the equipment that is helping you people or to make your work easier in order to save this boy's life.
And the boy's mother, Rosemary Jerry, 19, thanked the First Lady and the First family for the support rendered to her and her son.
Mutola nitalama miezi nganaje? Enzo chitomulimbira kuti amutole awisi kuti amute naye kuno nzofuna lini kuti akhale namweyo chikwati so echiyorungula kweruta
kwatira kwamino kumtauni mwana omwenze sechiana echitokuya naye mwanakazi kulundazi
era pakuza naye awelana manyereti
ndishapapa ndishakale kuye kulundazi pechimboti mwana olwalamba ndipenda kulundazi
enkhalira kuni manyereti kuli mweyo kapena kwawisi
kula atate wake
yekwechinkalira na manyereti nomba beve fotokoza kuti chati
pazibaleka liposekekamba kuti lya mwana onivuta olwala yabasunga omusisi ya
mphamvu ya mulungu ankhale bwino mukope mphera ngako mwamu mulungu amusunge ichati olabira bwino bwino nakulya ai it's unbelievable. This gadget here. Richard, offer compass for Christmas. Hey, Christmas. I listen Christmas. Funirani mafuniro abwino ai. Mkope teranga.
The Engineering Institution of Zambia, EIZ, has linked with serious concern the washaway of the Chipata to Lundazi Road by the Msuzi River near Lundazi in Eastern Province. EIZ President Engineer Sidney Matamwandi says the river crossing was a corrugated metal culvert structure built over 40 years ago. Engineer Matamwandi says this event is a repeat of many washaway of the road infrastructure countrywide that takes place every rainy season, which include the Batoka to Mamba Road in Southern Province and the Kawamba to Mbereshi Road in Luapula Province. He has told Q News that such infrastructure is typically very old structures built many decades in the past. The EIZ president says while the institution commends the efforts of all parties involved in mitigating the impact of such events, there is need for increased investment in physical infrastructure as well as in the resourcing of maintenance and care of road infrastructure. Mr. Matamwandi feels that increased investment in the upgrade of the hydraulic structure has the long-term solution to the current problem, stressing that this is critical if the impact of climate change is to be adequately managed. He has, however, commended the Road Development Agency RDA for taking the lead in the response by embarking on the process of reviewing design standards in response to the impact of climate change. The institution president thinks that this effort will be supplemented by the appropriate capital investment. Mr. Matamwandi adds that the enhancing of national capability in the maintenance and care of such infrastructure is another area that is an integral part of the solution. He has noted that this area needs significant investment to assure sustainability in the care and maintenance of the infrastructure. Recently, President Lungu sent a team of 4 ministers to Lundazi District, Eastern Province, to go and assess the damage caused by the washed away Msuzi Bridge. Education Minister David Mabumba has announced that the ministry has finalized the listing of the names of the Teaching Council of Zambia and Examination Council of Zambia commissioners. This follows after Zambia National Union of Teachers, ZANUT, appealed to General Education Minister David Mabumba to quickly appoint a council in order to enhance the performance of the Teaching Council of Zambia. But Mr. Mabumba has told a journalist in Lusaka that his ministry is just waiting for the verification of the names that have been appointed to spearhead the operations of the functionality of the Teaching Council of Zambia. The General Education Minister has regretted that the commissioners haven't been put in place, a situation he said is unfortunate. Mr. Mabumba has, however, assured members of the public and stakeholders in the education sector that the commissioners for the two institutions will be announced in the first quarter of 2019.
The commission at the Teaching Council of Zambia, their mandate expired, I think, in 2017. And I just want to regret personally, because that's my responsibility, that the council has not been put in place. It sounds as much easier putting up a council. So you don't want to bring in a council that is going to be moribund. My view is that the Teaching Council is a new institution. Even when we appoint the council, we need to appoint men and women who are going to provide the strategic leadership as far as the institution is concerned. So it has taken a bit of time, but for the sake of the nation and those that have raised concerns about the functionality of the Teaching Council of Zambia, we have looked at names, and I think the names are ready. We are just waiting to have them cleared within the various levels of government institution. So within the first quarter of 2019, the Teaching Council of Zambia are going to have commissioners. The same is applicable to the Examination Council of Zambia, because as you have witnessed, normally the tradition is that the chairperson of the Examination Council of Zambia is the one who should have rendered a statement, but because their tenure ended on the 5th of October, we don't have them. And again, also the names are ready. We are just waiting as to go through the process of verification of those particular names. So again, by 2019 first quarter, for both institutions, the commissions will have been put in place.
Movement for Multi-Party Democracy President Nevas Mumbai has donated assorted items to the children of Matthew 25 Ministries International Orphanage in Chilenje. Dr. Mumbai says as a party they thought it wise to join the children of Matthew 25 Ministries Orphanage this year of mercy by doing charitable works. The items donated include meal, cooking oil, rice, soft drinks, among others. Speaking when presenting the donations, Dr. Mumbai says and expressed hope that the items will bring smiles to the faces of the children of the orphanage. Dr. Mumbai says Christmas and the New Year is time for sharing and merrymaking. He believes in the act of giving to the needy and helping them to prosper, adding that it is a way he and his family can appreciate God for bringing them this far.
Because God moved on our heart to pick you up from the streets. You are now about to get your degree. That's what leadership is all about. And I hope us politicians can learn from you. If we are going to lead a country, our interest should not be in what we become because of our position, but it should be the lives we lift from nowhere to give them a future that we can look back at and be proud of. So to me, there's a scripture in Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 11. And let me just read this. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 11, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happens to all of them. Instead of using the word chance, I want to use the word opportunity. It's given to all of us. To be honest with you, all of us are handicapped. No one is born with everything. We are all here. Our lives can be changed by another person coming into our lives to give us what we don't have. Like you have noticed, there's a young lady here who came to testify, but she couldn't speak because she can't speak. But because there are other people who can speak on her behalf, her story is heard. An opportunity is given to the strong, to the weak, to everybody. It's how you use that opportunity that's going to determine the end of your life. So I want to encourage all of you that are here, the young people, don't feel sorry for yourselves.
And in Ongenawa, the founder and proprietor of the home expressed gratitude to Dr. Mumba for his kind gesture. She has promised to put every item to good use and appealed to the benevolent society to emulate the gesture and come to their aid, adding that the home still needs a lot of help to support the children.
I asked the Lord, I said, Lord, I don't understand my ministry. And the Lord said, you are a mother. And I met Tabitha, not Tabitha Miriam. I met Tabitha. Tabitha was sleeping under a tree in Charleston. She moved from Charleston, came to UTH. A lot of people know her. With a boy who was 5 years old. I took that boy, started keeping that boy. Few days later, Tabitha got pregnant again. I got that baby from her when she was 1 month old, and I invited Tabitha to come into this home. This boy now, she finished school. She did building and construction, and she's working. Then the girl is 20 years now. She started work with MTN.
The National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NACASE, has questioned the credibility of the Grade 7 results by the Ministry of General Education, where all candidates who sat for the exams have made it to Grade 8. On Monday, the 24th of December 2018, General Education Minister David Mabumba announced that all the 388,331 candidates who sat for the Grade 7 examinations have been selected to Grade 8, bringing the national progression rate to 100% from 99.14 recorded in 2017. But NACASE Executive Director Aaron Chansa says as much as the results are impressive, it is not convincing that all candidates could have made it to Grade 8. Mr. Chansa has charged that if the ministry insists that all the candidates proceed to Grade 8, then the country will have quantity education and not quality education. Mr. Chansa further notes with concern the poor performance of the female candidates as opposed to the male candidates, further appealing to the Ministry of General Education to investigate the poor performance by the female candidates. He has also expressed concern with the over 50,000 candidates that did not sit for the exams, calling for the ministry to also investigate the reasons behind such a development. Governance activist Leslie Chikuse has called on Southern Africa Development Community SADC to urgently investigate the gutting of a warehouse in the Independent National Electoral Commission in DRC that destroyed thousands of voting machines and ballot boxes that were due to be used in the country's long-delayed December 23rd presidential election. Mr. Chikuse says what is happening now in DRC is a source of worry, and President Lungu, as SADC chairperson, should intervene and address the situation impartially. He has told QTV News that a situation where a journalist was arrested and violently beaten in the Democratic Republic of Congo on Thursday for covering a meeting of opposition presidential hopeful Martin Fayulu should be condemned by SADC. Mr. Chikuse has reminded SADC that the time for talking is over and a resolution to the political crisis must be found without delay. He says Africa, especially the people of DRC, are relying on SADC to resolve the impasse through decisive statesmanship. And Mr. Chikuse is pleading to SADC community together with other global players to institute discussions on the situation in DRC and develop a political and economic rescue package that is predicted on democratic progress. President Lungu is SADC for the organ on politics, defense and security cooperation chairman.
We're expecting a very strong statement from President Edgar Lungu. We're expecting a very strong position undertaken by the president, him being the chairperson for SADC, so that he shows that leadership. But I think that he has continued to take a path of trying to bring in economic growth for our country, which is also okay. But I think we must not be insensitive to the affairs of our neighboring countries, especially Congo, where we have serious bilateral relationships and where we have a lot of economic exchange of ideas, resources and so on. So I think that President Lungu must quickly get back and zero into the problems that are being faced by Congo and begin to deal with them, and probably call for an urgent SADC meeting so that really we see how this issue that is making serious very bad impression about Africa bilateral relationship and partnerships look very very bad and incurable. So we would like to call upon the SADC mission, would like to call upon President Edgar Lungu to quickly zero into the problems that are affecting Congo so that our brothers are not do not begin to run from point A to point B, so that our brothers can have a peaceful environment that is going to necessitate economic growth, certainty and predictability in their affairs. So this is a very serious issue that President Lungu must focus in, especially that he is agreeable and he undertook the mammoth task of becoming the SADC chairperson.
President Edgar Lungu has been urged to engage in sober policy debates with opposition leaders that will benefit the Zambian citizens instead of subjecting them to insults. The opposition alliance has noted with regret the continued stream of insults coming from the ruling Patriotic Front and directed at its leaders. Media and Finance Committees of the Committee of Presidents for the Opposition Alliance Chairperson, Sean Tembo, says is advising President Lungu that he needs to refrain from insulting his political opponents and instead engage in sober policy debates. He has reminded President Lungu that the position which he occupies as Republican President is a respectable position, and he is therefore compelled to conduct himself in a respectful manner so that the citizenry may respect him. The civil society in the fight against early marriages says the recent revelations that 5,000 girls in Chipata district fell pregnant is an indication that stakeholders are not doing enough to eradicate the vice in the country. Organization chairperson Judith Mwila says stakeholders in the fight against early marriages have concentrated much on information sharing to school-going children, while those in the community are not reached out. Mrs. Mwila has told QTV News that it is for this reason that those fighting against early marriages should consider focusing on girls who are not in schools. She has observed that there are some girls in communities who are indulging in sexual activities because they lack information on sexual reproductive health, a situation exposing them to early pregnancies.
If you follow that report, there were the girls who are not at all going to school. So perhaps we are providing more awareness creation and information to the girls in schools because they are able to read and they are able to, to interact within themselves. So that reminded us that we need to do something specific about the girls out of school, which means we need now to be going on the ground in the communities more than we are doing away from the communities. Because what that tells us is that there are girls who are sitting at home doing nothing and they get busy having sex. This is a terrible indication of our parenting structures. We look also at the way, do we have a problem with socialization of the children? What are the girls doing in their spare time? When they are not doing anything, what are they thinking to do? So I think that in collaboration, as a network, we collaborate with government ministries. So we want to actually sit down and strategize together with the Ministry of Youth and Sport and Child Development, the Ministry of Community Development, because these are girls, they are future mothers. And we want them to become mothers in the proper way, not in the way it has happened within 6 months. It is a very sad report.
The International Plan Zambia has commended traditional leaders in the country for their commitment towards ending child marriages in their chiefdoms. International Plan for Eastern and Southern Africa Regional Program Manager Lazarus Mwale notes that child marriages are on the increase in rural areas, saying it is just prudent that traditional leaders take part in eradicating the vice. Meanwhile, Mr. Mwale is happy that the organization has a lot of transformation from traditional leaders, where they have made pronouncements to end child marriages not only in Zambia but in the region as a whole. Mr. Mwale is confident that the appointment of Chief Chamuka of Chisamba District as chairperson to ending child marriage will also help reduce such vices. And Mr. Mwale has re-echoed Gender Minister Elizabeth Piri's statement that Zambia has made strides in the fight against child marriages in the country. He has also recommended the need to accelerate the implementation programs that have been put in place in eradicating such vices.
Of course, we are not in a position as a country to know year on year how child marriage is reducing because we do not have a monitoring mechanism in place, and as a result, it's difficult to know at what level are we moving. But what we know for sure is that in the past 7-8 years, we've made some good progress as a country because 7-8 years ago, child marriage used to be about 42% in Zambia. It has now come down to 31%. But again, when you look at how the population is increasing every year, definitely the gains that we have made in the past, if we do not double our efforts to end child marriage now, we are going to find ourselves again increasing in terms of the prevalence of the practice. So we really need to combine our efforts as various stakeholders, civil society organizations, the media in terms of sensitizing the communities, and also in terms of implementing the various government strategies that have been put in place, like the national strategy to end child marriage. We did witness a launch of a national communication strategy to end child marriage this year. So all these mechanisms that have been put in place, we need to accelerate their implementation. Otherwise, we face a danger where the gains will be reversed because the population is growing quite at a faster rate. So we need to double our efforts. And so the monitoring mechanism can also help us track year on year how the prevalence is, is moving, whether we are coming down or we are going up.
Small Scale and Medium Contractors Association of Zambia President Mutale Mpepo has commended Zambian contractors for their efficiency. Mr. Mpepo is pleased to see all contractors working in different infrastructure developments across the country delivering quality works. He says the association is committed to promoting quality conformity to ethics and integrity and to promote sustainable development in Zambia. Mr. Mpepo has further stressed that the association members have continued to play an active role in the planning, design, construction, inspection and management of infrastructure projects in all sectors of the Zambian economy.
18. When it comes to general building, yes, 2018, we can say there has been ups and downs. Remember the districts, the new districts. Those projects started maybe 3-4 years ago. Now, up to now, we can't complete them. Lack of funding. Others you find is just maybe the contractors facing challenges here and there, but the most critical thing is funding. So for those to take shape, there has to be funding. So funding has been the most critical thing in 2018, especially where local contractors are concerned. It has been a very, very big challenge. As you know, everything hinges on finances. So we pray that as we move to 2019, maybe where funding is concerned, they are going to look into that, government will look into that critically so that things can change. Without money, there is nothing we can do. General buildings. You can see that across the country, 2018, they have put up a lot of health centers. Remember those 600 health centers? In 2018, they have tried to put up those things. Schools, yes, across the country. Hospitals across the country. Yes, it has been a very, very busy year where general building also is concerned. 18.
Youth Aid Chairman Chunguka Chenga has implored President Edgar Lungu's government to ride on the current public support and take significant action on pervasive corruption in the country. Mr. Kachenga is urging President Lungu to take decisive and concrete action on the growing list of corruption cases in the country. And Mr. Kachenga is appealing to President Lungu to ensure that those who are cited in the Auditor General's report are punished to serve as a deterrent measure to others who intend to toe the same line. Meanwhile, he adds that the fight against corruption must focus on the implementation of practical measures by way of increasing citizens and government engagement at national, provincial and district levels.
Okay, and coming back to the issue that President Lungu spoke on not long ago, involving the alleged corruption reports that he had been receiving by the intelligence regarding a lot of his government officials. We are telling President Lungu that he himself must lead by example. The fight against corruption is not a mere lip service. We want President Lungu to take action, and we want that action to start from himself, because a lot of people will question where he got the wealth. Okay, President Lungu, as we speak, is a very rich man. Where he got the wealth overnight, no one knows. So the corruption has started from the head. That's why it is very difficult to control the corruption that we are seeing in Zambia. It is unprecedented. Okay, we want action. If people are being accused of corruption, let them be tried. And if they are found wanting, it is not enough to fire them. Okay, the ministers must be sent to prison like any other person found wanting for corruption, because corruption is a criminal offense.
That item concludes the news, but before I go, here is a recap of stories in the headlines. First Lady Esther Lungu has adopted 1-month-old abandoned baby, currently at the University Teaching Hospital. The University Teaching Hospital has announced that it is scheduled to conduct the second operation for the 3-year-old Chipata boy with needles and wires in various parts of his body in the first week of January. And Education Minister David Mabumba has announced that the ministry has finalized the listing of the names of the Teaching Council of Zambia and Examination Council of Zambia commissioners. That's all we had for the news. Thank you so much for staying with us. Bye-bye, and God bless.